All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Hashir Khan, and today, along with my group, we'll be going over Chapter 4 Planning Business Messages. Now, in this chapter, you should be able to identify the four basic principles of the writing process and be able to summarize the 3 by 3 writing process. Now, what this chapter starts off with is a quick story about a personal finance guru by the name of Suze Orman. Or Susie Orman. I'm not 100% sure how her name is pronounced, but basically she wants to change the way that people think and act about money. And her advice to people in debt is throw out your credit cards. Don't use credit when you don't have your own money. Like you're borrowing money to buy things when you should be using your own money. If you borrow money to buy things, you're gonna end up paying back that debt with interest, and it's just not a smart idea. And if you want to understand the writing process for business messages, let's start with the basics. The basics are that it's different from traditional writing that we all have done in high school. The English essays we had to write about Hamlet and whatnot. It's different, right? We're not here to talk about our feelings or displaying the amount of knowledge we have on a certain topic. No, business writing has to be purposeful because you're writing to solve problems and convey important information. And it also has to be persuasive. You're trying to get your point across, you want your message to be accepted. It also has to be economical because in the business world, if things don't make fiscal sense, they don't really make sense at all. And it has to be audience oriented, lastly. You shouldn't only be speaking for yourself, you need to focus on your audience's perspective and speak for them. Now, the way to do this easily, the book discusses the 3 by 3 writing process, which is a systematic way, whether you're writing emails or blog posts or memos or letters or whatever the case may be, this is a systematic way to do it easily. Now, the first phase of the writing process, the 3 by 3 writing process, is pre-writing phase. Now, the pre-writing phase consists of 3 phases. The first is to analyze, decide what your purpose is, how you're going to convey that, and what channel you're going to use. Second is to anticipate, like what does the audience already know? How might they react to the information I'm going to give them? And then you adapt based on that. After you've done the pre-writing phase, the next phase is to do the actual writing. You have to research, you have to organize a research, and then compose a first draft of your writing. The last phase is revision, same thing. You revise, you proofread, and then you evaluate. Pretty self-explanatory, and that is the 3 by 3 writing process, and I will hand this over to my group members who will talk about the rest of the chapter. Thank you very
My name is
much.
Emmanuel, and I will be talking about objective number two, which is analyze your purpose in your channel. The first and most important thing when we're writing a message is to understand the purpose and the meaning of it. When we understand this, we should look forward to to a way or a channel to transmit this. This can even be an email, a call, or an in person talk. Many channels will be helpful when we transmit this message, but there is no way that this will be more important than our ability to transmit it. The audience is another aspect we need to consider. When we talk about communication, anticipating the audience reactions and understanding of the message is part of the job, communicated by communicators. For this, we need to analyze the profile, the audience, and anticipate the response for the message. Another aspect to take care into is the secondary audience. We should anticipate if the receiver will resend this message, will communicate to somebody else, and adapt our necessities and our way to express ourselves by this.
So I will be presenting learning objective 3, adapting to the task and the audience. So according to the book, adaptation is the process of creating a message that suits your audience. And one of the important key features that you want to keep in mind when speaking to your audience is the tone that you use when addressing them, because it is crucial to how the audience receives the information you're giving them. You want to establish a positive tone that will be well received by the majority of your audience. So one of the key points to adapting to the task at hand and to the audience is developing audience benefits during your speech. So addressing your audience was actually recognized as a fundamental writing principle over 200 years ago and was pushed heavily by Benjamin Franklin. And whenever he would always like give writing and speaking advice to his clients, he would always push enunciating the benefits that the audience will receive as a result of listening to you, the speaker. You want to, keep your audience warm. You want to keep them involved, but you also want to make them see from your point of view and see what they will receive as a result of listening to you and doing what you're telling them to do. And at the same time, you don't want to be super pushy. So you also want to be a little empathetic. Put yourself in their shoes and see if, if someone was speaking to you the way you were speaking to them, would it be as well received as you think it would be? That's just being empathetic and seeing from another person's point of view is just a key trait that a lot of professional speakers keep in mind and that are just really good at. They don't even do it consciously sometimes. So that's a huge key to being a great speaker. And then another key point to keep in mind is cultivating the you view. So you always want to keep the audience involved. You want to make them seem like they are part of everything, right? And a lot of professional speakers use we and I to bring the group, bring the audience together as a group. But another key word that a lot of professional speakers use is the viewpoint of you. Because when you use you when talking to an audience, it makes them seem like you're presenting straight towards them or you're speaking directly towards them. So keywords like you and your are going to have a huge impact on how your audience receives your message. However, you don't want to overuse you and your because it might come off as as an attempt at manipulation, and the audience might see it as manipulative. But there's still good words to keep in mind when speaking. They just can't be overused. And then lastly, being conversational but professional. So you want to keep a professional image. You want to seem educated, even if you're not. You want to seem mature, even if you're not. But at the same time, you always want to keep your audience comfortable and warm. And you want what you're saying to be well received. And they're not going to do that if they don't believe you are professional and you're keeping them in a comfortable state when speaking to them.
I am also going to talk about objective number 4, which is expressing yourself positively when you are communicating. There are many ways we can improve our writing and help other people understand the information that we're trying to express. But one of the most important is expressing ourselves positively when we are writing or when we are talking. Also, being courteous will help us clarify our ideas and words even when we can justify our anger. Keeping ourselves being formal, being polite will continually increase our ability to write and understand us better. Also, chasing our bias-free language is another crucial factor to create communication and clarity in the message. Adapting our letters to the audience, we need to make sure our language is sensitive and bias-free. The best ways to accomplish this is to leave details about age, gender, or any other aspect that can offend anybody out of the conversation. On the other hand, we should convince this free language with plain words that anybody can understand. We should avoid big and complex expression because some people may not pay attention to the main idea and just focus on those type of words. To conclude a successful and clear message, we should use vigorous words. This action will help the audience and ourselves maintain attention and keep the understanding of the message as straightforward as possible.
Hello, my name's Adam. Now I will be going over learning objective 5 of chapter 4, which focuses on learning how teams approach collaborative writing projects and what tools assist team writing. So to provide services, produce goods, and complete projects, many of today's professionals will operate in groups. To achieve their goals, organizations are more likely than not to use teams in some manner. So because writing is such an important aspect, we may anticipate to employ our writing talents on a regular basis. Team writing is necessary for big projects that require expertise and consensus from multiple individuals. Some examples include memos, letters, information briefs, procedures, policies, and most likely big documents and presentations, like this presentation that we put together as a team for Chapter 4. And organizations will send out multiple different types of avenues to their employees, stakeholders, etc. The list goes on. Team writing is standard in most organizations because team processes provide many benefits. And this is why organizations are leaning towards doing more team-based writing projects. And the things that it allows and produces for organizations, that it gives off better product ideas, helps members socialize, and more team members are eager to execute their recommendations because they're part of the development. So they're excited to see the results and are more enthusiastic about it towards the organization. The process for team writing generally consists of 3 phases. Phase 1 being pre-writing, assigning tasks to individuals, giving assignments, and what should people follow. Phase 2 is the writing, researching, organizing findings, and composing drafts. Phase 3 would be revising. Teams come back together, organize what they found, make revisions, and synthesize it all together, and really just go back into all the other phases and mix and match and figure out a good process and going through it. Collaboration tools are constantly being developed and improved. For example, instant messaging through iMessage, GroupMe, and Zoom allows for large to small instant communication, while blogs, for example, communicate to a larger audience and receive feedback through comments or edits from other users. There are a number of tools available that can perform a wide range of communication. Being that we are all students, there are specific tools that work well for student collaboration. Google Docs is a free web-based word processor, spreadsheet, and presentation. And it's a form of application program that we're all familiar with from high school and moving on forward currently. It keeps documents current and lets team members update files from their own devices online or even offline. Several other helpful software tools are Discord, Snapchat, GroupMe, Blackboard, Microsoft Word, and many more.
Then in Objective 6, adapting to legal and ethical responsibilities. In this section, it talks about how there is 5 different ways for you to give information regarding different topics to the audience, the customers, or investors themselves. For example, the first one, investment information. It talks about how the sales of stocks, financial service to the investors themselves must be very clear and straight to the point. Any emails, letters, or newsletters must be clear of misleading information, exaggerations, or half-truth. The second one, safety information. When it comes to describing your product, you must include any little details that say how the product itself could be harmful to the customer themselves. You must also state ways for how the product is meant to use in a safely and correct manner, so you won't later on get sued if by accident someone gets hurt using your product. The third one, market information. For this one, it's regarding the sales itself. For example, you must not falsely advertise prices, the performance, or the quality of the product, the characteristics. For example, you cannot say this is the best product made of the best material when it's actually not the best product, because you're deceiving the buyer to buy it, something that's not as promised. The fourth one, human resource information. This mostly concerns employers or any business partners when it comes to the workplace. You must avoid negative comments or traits. For example, you must be very clear and precise when it comes to the contracts, because if you're not clear and precise, anything you say or write in there can be used against you as the company themselves. Like, for example, when you fire somebody for not good reasons, they could use it against you. Last but not least, copyright information. You must be careful on what you say and what you share with the audience, and make sure that the information itself, you're getting it yourself and not from somewhere else. And if you are going to get it from somewhere else, make sure that you give them credit or give them some sort of recognition so that you won't later on get sued. Then it gives us 5 different reasons or ways to avoid copyright infringement. Just assume everything is copyright. Realize that internet items are not in the public domain. If not, ask for information, or don't assume the footage is all you need.